Good afternoon. This is Tanisha Laverne Grant with BlackInAmerica.com. I'm super excited to bring to the platform an amazing actor, Greg Davis, who has a brand new film called Joy and Jim that is premiering at this year's Pan African American Film Festival. Greg, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing
You're
amazing.
doing
How about
amazing. You're doing amazing. Um, you
yeah, I'm
know,
doing
I,
good.
I I enjoyed Joy and Jim. For those of you who live in New York City and understand the magic, beauty, and power of a day in a life in New York City and just the community of New York City and how New York City feeds you, there's a very specific vibration in New York City, and you catch it. And Joy and Jim really is a day in a life of a young man and a young woman who meet, and they're on a very specific vibration, and it's so beautiful. You know, Greg, talk a little bit about getting tapped to be a part of this film, and how it came to be for you.
Well, so I tapped myself um because I created the project.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so it's
That's
actually
amazing.
so
I
Joy
didn't
and
see
Jim.
that note. Woo-hoo. Forgive me.
Oh
Forgive
no, it's
me.
fine. It's fine. Well, they have it on there, but it's like created by even the credits of Pan Africans is created by, but because it gets jumbled in with everything else. But it's one episode out of a series actually. So
Oh, wow.
I created an anthology series. So there's about 13 episodes in the first season. So in the midst of me selling the show and trying to sell the show, my partner, was like, we should just submit Day of Joy, Joy and Jim or Day of Joy into some festivals to build the buzz around it as we're pitching the show and selling the concept because it's
Mm,
very like it's it's an intricate concept. It's hard to not really hard to explain, but unless you see it, you'll start to get it. And so that is just one episode out of like a 12-part anthology series that I created. And then my writing partner Hash helped me write all the episodes, but I conceptualized like, the series. So this one episode in particular is just one of them. And so executive produced it. I co-edited this episode
mm.
of the film with the director, and we had our vision, and just let him run. But I basically was just tired of trying to. I was just becoming frustrated as an actor and an artist and a social media person. I was tired of tap dancing on social media for likes and for brand deals and stuff like that. It just wasn't feeling creatively fulfilled. I was tired of auditioning for pointless projects that I feel like may be good, but I don't want to be a part of it. And I
Mm.
know what I want to create. I know what I want to act in as an actor. I know what I want to see personally as TV. Like I know the shows I want to watch, and there's far and few of those television shows out there. So instead of feeling frustrated, I decided to just create something that I myself would want to watch
I love
and tell the
that.
story I want to see. So I tapped myself.
I love it. I love it. So can you talk about Joy and Jim and what Joy and Jim is, for our
Yeah,
audience?
yeah. So Joy and Jim is a love story, I suppose,
Yeah.
but it's not your average love story. It's just more or less two. I like to tell honest stories and realistic stories. And like you said, if you live in New York, a day like that is very possible.
Yep.
It's
I've had
happened.
at least, honestly, I've had about 12 of those days,
No
where
way.
I kid you not, maybe even more, somewhere between 12 and 20 over the course of my 15 years living in New York City.
I
I
could see
have
that, especially
had,
out of 15.
yeah, I've had so many of those beautiful day dates, just
Mhm,
randomly
mhm.
meeting somebody, and they have lasted 24 to like 48 hours, 72 hours. I've gotten maybe like one or two relationships out of them, but I never went in looking for it to be more than what it was in that moment. And that was just two souls meeting and
Right.
connecting and vibrating and feeding each other in that specific moment and that point in time.
Yeah.
Like I've
Yeah.
attended a lot of the Brooklyn Academy of Music festivals like BAM, you're at BAM, you got your sundress on, you're looking
Yeah.
at something, African mask, bangles, getting your coconut. Brother comes up,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
checking. Oh, you here with
Yeah.
somebody? Well, no. Well, let's go to Madiba's or whatever. And the next thing you know, we're rolling.
Yeah.
We're
It
rolling.
happens like that's what makes New York special though. It's like those moments because you can just get around everywhere for nothing. You can just hop on the
Hmm.
subway, you can a whole nother borough in 15, 20 minutes. And that's what makes it possible. If you don't live there, you're probably thinking like, how do I? But even if you don't, you can appreciate how realistic that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
so,
mean, I can't, I think everyone should live in New York City for at least, a year or two. You have to experience New York City.
I agree. I tell everybody that even if you don't want to live there long term, at some point in your life, like I want my daughter, you know, I want our daughter to live in New York at some point, at least for you know what I mean. It does something to your upbringing, to your soul, to your spirit.
Yeah,
It just rounds you out. It makes you tough. Because this world don't care about you, and
it doesn't.
this world is not forgivable. And I don't have time. Like this world does not care about your emotions. It don't care about your feelings. It does not care. And you know, if I just feel like that's one of those cities that toughen you up. It builds your resolve, your spirit, and I agree. I agree. And but not only that, to experience the magic of it, to
Hmm.
experience the
That's
different
what I
cultures.
loved about Joy and Jim. I was like, oh my goodness, like every scene, every take was just so beautiful. And those, that little Central Park scene where you're like, or Joy bets you to go get a telephone number from the guy from the hot
A
dog
hot dog.
stand. I don't want to
Like a
give too
real hot
much.
dog guy. We had to pay him to like to do that. I had to pay
Oh
him
my
to wait.
God. That's hilarious. But moments like that, I mean, it was just so remarkably beautiful and so well done. I want to talk a little bit about just the overall cinematography of it because the lighting was pretty spectacular. I love those night scenes, those walk scenes, some of those still shots towards the end of the movie where you take that last photo of Joy. I thought that was just amazing. So just
Thank you.
talk about a little bit of your like shooting style and your inspiration for choosing some of the lighting techniques that you chose.
Yeah, so I got to give all credit to my boy Nathan Halgard, who's the cinematographer.
Mm.
This is probably our third project working together. We started working together when we were in our 20s. I met him on a set of a film. We just kept in contact, and then we just stayed in contact over the years. And we shot some project early February of 2019, and then he was working on Avatar actually. When we at the time when I was creating this because he was
Wow,
expressing
that's
frustration.
big. Avatar. Wow.
Oh yeah, he did the first two or three movies. I think he was like one of the
Mm.
camera operators, A or B cam, and he was just, living in LA. You'll work on a bunch of cool stuff, but like he's an artist. Like
Yeah.
Nathan is an artiste. He cares. Like
Yeah.
he cares. You know what I mean? And so he was just expressing his creative frustration, and I was like, yeah, me too. And he was like, for the record, if you got anything you're working on right now, bro, just let me know because I'll come up there and I'll see. I was like, well, funny you mentioned because I did think of this idea that I kind of wanted to do, but it wasn't that big yet. It was smaller.
Mm.
Anyways, Nathan is a beast, and a lot of our inspiration, we love a lot of the same stuff. He's a film nerd. I'm a film nerd. He's a purist, and he's anal as can be. And we'll talk about the LUTs and the lenses and the 0.275 frame ratio, like all these different things.
Wow.
So as we were creating this, as I created it, and I was talking to him about it, he said, well, what do you want? And I was like, man, I want to tell a classic love story like Manhattan, but I want to throw my spike twist in it like Mo Better Blues. I want to bring back that 90s love, that black love and just love, but that sexy love. Cause I'm a fan of all types of
Yeah.
film and direct. And so, I just talked to him about my vision. I talked to him about lighting. I would take screenshots of things and be like, yo, see something like this. Or I would record if I watch a movie, I record it on my phone, I'll text it to him, or I'll see things and send it on his Instagram. And he's so good that he'll digest any information and he'll to that the director, whoever has, and he'll give it back to you, and then some. So it was all him. Like I was very clear about what I wanted, shots where they were locked off, dolly
Mm.
shots, whatever. And he was like, all right. And he came with the specific lighting. He came with the LUTs already, and we knew what camera to get. He was like, all right, we got to get the Arri Alexa. We got to do the Orion lens. I said, I want it like film. So we knew how to light it for that and shoot it for that. So that by the time we color corrected it. So it's him. I told him, I keep telling him, you're going to win an Oscar one day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? For cinematography, because he's young. He just can't, all I can say is he cares. He
It was
knows.
it was beautiful. You know, as a journalist, we get an enormous amount of content, an enormous amount of pitches. You know, we watch a lot of film, a lot of TV, and you know, when I'm going through these pitches, especially for a film festival, because there's just so much in a film festival, right? There's everybody is submitted, you know, and everybody wants press and needs press, right? And I'm looking at pitches from South by Southwest, you know, Pan African, you know, and it's award season. I looked at that trailer. I was just like, I want to talk to these guys. Yeah,
Dang, that's
yeah.
cool.
I was just like, wow, you know, and your PR, Matt, is just, he's amazing. He's so amazing. I've worked with Matt before. So, and
Oh,
that
okay.
that also helped. I'm like, oh, I know Matt. This is great. You
Yeah.
know, so well done. I mean, I can't give away the project. There's so many scenes I want to analyze and talk about. You know, I feel like I'm back in college and it's like film aesthetics and criticism. Like I want to break this film down like frame by frame, you know,
yeah.
line by line, but I certainly don't want to give the or the series away. I
Right.
want to talk about the poem though, that Joy. Wait a minute. I was like, I said, who wrote this? I said, did they
Uh,
write it to be, you know, I was like, listen, I am not a film critic, okay? Like I
yeah.
don't sit down and like criticize to break down people's creativity. You know, I don't want to be the bearer of like bad news or anything like that. I'm a journalist. I want to talk to you about your project. But that doggone poem, I was like, who wrote this? Who
Yeah.
wrote this? And was it supposed to sound this way? Because one minute I was just like, this is so bad, it's so good kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so bad, it's so good. Who
Yeah.
wrote
Yeah.
that? Who wrote
Uh,
who wrote the poem?
my writing partner did. He had the idea because that's like I just kept talking about these scenes. I was like, I want this kind of scene. I want this sexy scene, just for the aesthetics and just the jazz. And he was like, yo, I think I'm gonna have to write a poem. And I was like, all right, because he knows I do spoken word. I love poetry. I do poetry. And it was all him. All credit to Hash. A part of Hash. He said he wrote the poem. And I remember when I first read it, I was like, bruh. But it was meant to be all the feelings that you're feeling. It wasn't
Ah,
meant
yeah,
to be
I loved
good
it.
or bad. It's funny, it's quirky, it's weird, it's sexy, it's all those things. And it's just the fact that it had that effect on him, and you got to watch it to see, what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But the fact that it had that poem had that kind of effect on Jim, it's just even more, it's just funny. It's just, and it's ridiculous and it's real, it's authentic. And
yep,
like,
yep.
I've been in an awkward situation where a girl wanted me to read her poetry to me. And she did, but she was like doing too much. And I felt so awkward sitting there because I was like, this isn't good. This is,
Oh God. Oh
but
God, so well done. So
like,
well done. Like I said, I enjoyed every minute of it. And there are certain scenes that definitely, you know, just spoke to the heart of who I am. Like I'm a hopeless romantic. You
yeah,
know, a little bit of a relationship phobe, but definitely a hopeless romantic. Like we can date. Like I'll keep dating you. Like, you know, we can
yeah,
date.
yeah.
You know,
You
I
could
love
date.
that part, you know.
Right,
And
right.
so like that, you know, being in the apartment. And I really like too how, you know, you injected, you know, the social media component, the brand ambassadorships, you know, when you were asking Joy about this apartment, like you were like, oh wow, this is, you know, a really dope apartment. You know, talk a little bit about the direction that you think the influencer is going, just in terms of, yeah,
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's ever changing, right? Like it started in 2013 where nobody knew what an influencer was. It was
right.
ridiculed. It was ridiculed. It was taken as a joke. If you were an influencer, you didn't people go get a real job. And the joke is, I'm like, yo, it's influencers out here making money.
Yeah.
And why you talk about it? Logan
Mhm.
Paul over here making $1 million for y'all to buy pay-per-view to watch him fight. So say what you want to say, but this the social media influencer was quietly making millions while everybody talked about it and looked down on it, especially in the
Mhm.
film world. And then it went from like, what is that? What are they doing? What are they? To like now everybody and their mother is an influencer wants to be, to the point where we did it when it wasn't cool, and now it's cool. And now I'm just like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it no more. But
Yeah.
I think it's the advantage of being an influencer, of being a brand ambassador, and realizing your own brand really kicked into high gear last year and this year, because especially with COVID, right? A lot of stuff got shut down. And a lot of artists, a lot of actors were sitting here, and some of them still are struggling because
Mhm.
it's predicated on like the whole industry being open and working, auditions, and like look at the way people have to audition now, Zoom auditions. I mean, that's completely upset. Whoever
Yeah.
thought we'd be auditioning for major pictures on Zoom,
Yeah.
or TV shows or Netflix pitch meetings on Zoom? It's changed the entire game. The way you shoot something now, it's all quarantined. So the influencer had the upper hand because we were used to shooting stuff on this phone. We were used to
Mm.
making content on our cell phone. So their value, I believe, is rising, because you could see a company like Quibi try to
Oh yeah,
copy,
Quibi. But
and they
Quibi
failed
failed. Well,
massively.
yeah.
They massively,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it it people are realizing, to be on social media, to gain followers, to keep people tuning in every week to watch your videos, to maintain a certain amount of views, it's hard.
It's a
It's
full-time
hard.
job.
Yeah. And
It's
so
a
I think,
full-time job. I know, as, working as a journalist, and I am an old school journalist. I went to school for journalism. I majored in journalism. I did internships while I was in college. When I graduated, my full-time internship became a full-time job. You know, I moved to LA. I pursued acting. Acting wasn't paying the bills, and I pursued it for quite some time. And then a light bulb just clicked in my head, several years ago, and God was just like, you know what? Become an entertainment journalist, you
mm,
know, become an entertainment journalist. And it's as easy for me as breathing, you know. But what I've been seeing in recent years,
mm,
the business is saturated, right? And given COVID, everybody is now looking to be a host, a journalist. And that's great. But there are missing components to it, you know. And I think like last night or the night
fundamentally missing.
before, yeah, Oprah Winfrey was a reminder of the artisanship and the skill that it takes to be a true journalist. The interview that she did with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Um, Phenomenal
Mm.
work. Phenomenal work. Phenomenal work. It is, and to
I
be a
feel
journalist, you're an oracle, you know. It's a gift. What you do is a gift. We're storytellers, and I'm not knocking anybody. I welcome the idea to, explore different avenues, but you can't knock one particular thing and then want to circle back and come and do it.
right.
No,
Right.
it doesn't.
I know. And that's how I felt with social media. I can go back to this day to comments back in 2012. People were leaving on my friends. Friends, they were like, "Oh, what are you doing? Wasting your time. This is whack. Oh, you ain't gonna never." He was an actor. People were actors looking down on us. And
Mm,
then the whole thing went, zoop. Then Vine blew up, Instagram blew up, YouTube, everything blew up. And them same people came back around asking me, "Hey, can we collab?" I'm like, "No, we cannot."
yeah.
And don't, as a matter of fact, don't text me anymore. Yeah, I am being petty because you talk so much.
Oh my God, Greg, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Funny, but not funny.
it's funny but not funny. And but what it did was it built resolve, and it told me, even going back to this project, it's like how that tied in. Where your question was, how do I where do I see the influencer going? I think that the advantage that we or influencers have is the ability to not panic during this time and make something
Mhm.
happen, even in the because we're used to taking something on a cell phone and creating viral videos, or a 3-man crew or a 5-man crew. You need 35 people for you to
Yeah.
act. I don't.
Woo!
I don't. And I don't say that with any whatever. I don't. Like you give me a phone, I'll go back to the just give me a tripod mount right from Amazon for $35. I'll put my phone and my iPad on it, and I will make a short film if I have to. Because it's all about color correcting. These phones are high tech anyway. So that's
Yep.
the advantage. I think we look what Andrew Schultz did. That's the advantage. He
Mm.
dropped 13 videos of straight fire and got a Netflix TV deal. You know how many comedians have been on stage tap dancing for years, actors tap dancing for years, can't even get a meeting with Netflix. This dude takes it upon himself to drop fire episodes on his Instagram, build up a following for 2 months straight, and gets a Netflix deal. That
Mm.
is where influencers are going. So, joining Jim, we were like, I'm tired of waiting. Let's just drop it. And I got 2 more episodes ready to go to just that the world hasn't seen yet. So we're just, I was
See
talking to
them.
my producer. Yeah, it might be soon enough because that's what we're talking about. Like while the buzz is happening and while everybody's finding out that this is a series, I might as well just be like Andrew Schultz or Lil Dicky or Donald Glover and just drop free fire
Woo!
until until people are like, we got to give this kid a show or a movie or something.
Yeah.
I'm showing you that just give me some money and I will create a masterpiece for you if given the allotted finances and time to do
Build
it.
it, build it, and they will come. And the key is consistency, Like I get it. I work independently, you
Yeah.
know, but the beauty in that, it's difficult. I have my moments where I'm like, oh God, like where's the check? Um, but I own my content, and that's gold for me, you know.
Yeah.
The fact that
That's it.
I own my interviews is everything, and what comes out of my
Your
mouth.
master. That's
Yeah.
your master. Like
Yeah.
I own Join Gym. Nobody can take that from me. I own it. That's mine. I have the raw file. I put the money. I could change the color if I want to today. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to ask nobody
Yeah.
in any studio.
Yeah.
And that is the value for me.
Yeah.
The I have the masters. I got the keys.
Now, Greg, I want to talk about, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about the licensing for the music. 'Cause I heard some
Yeah.
Miles Davis in there. So how did that come about?
I mean, as you could, I don't know if you can hear it, but in the background right now, um, I don't know if you can hear it, but in the background, I got jazz
Mm,
going.
love it. Love it.
I'm a
Love it.
I'm,
Love it.
I'm a I'm a jazz head. So even that film, even the reason I love Spike so much, because that's Spike's essence. That's my essence. I grew up
Mhm.
on my mom and dad playing, jazz in the house and
Yeah.
all them old school Marvin Gaye. So like music, much like how Tarantino looks at it, music is like the soundtrack to life. And when I was thinking about Joy and Jim, I wrote the concept to this song. The
Hmm.
fact it's playing right now is a complete. I didn't do that on purpose. I play it because
Wow. Wow.
I like for our daughter to like hear jazz and classical music while she sleeps because
Yeah.
that's what was done for me. And I believe that jazz and stuff stimulates the brain waves and classical music into creativity and inspiration. But the music, obviously, thank God it was a film festival because we can't afford any of it. It
Mm,
was all license any of it. So that's why I had to go the festival route, just dropping it for free. And when I
mm.
sell the show, they're gonna have to pay for it. I mean, you have a budget for that kind of stuff.
Right.
But the inspiration came from just me. I played saxophone for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
I was in a symphonic orchestra band in school. I didn't keep up with it. I wish I did. I keep saying I'm gonna get back into it, which I'm doing. I'm doing in the
Oh,
next year or so. Start playing again. But I love jazz. I love classical music, and that old school 90s romance movie type of thing that I talked about, that was the thing that pushed the 80s and the 90s, was just jazz, sax. It was sexy. It was
All of
grown.
that, all of those, Miles Davis and, Charlie Yardbird Parker and, Max Roach and Thelonious Monk,
Yep. Thelonious Monk, Joe, man.
Yep, yep,
So yeah, I had to, so it was written in that spirit. And I knew I wanted a jazz influenced uh episode, but my series is going to be jazz influenced, like hip hop, and like it's going to be what I like. Again, I'm creating things that I will want to see in a film. I want to hear in a
yeah,
film. And so that's how it came about. I listen to jazz on my spare time, and I wanted people to experience, when you watch a piece of mine, I want you to experience what I think about, what inspires me. And that's how it came about. And so I had to throw the jazz in there. And the Pac, I wanted to, the reason for Pac was because I felt like we're in an era where women were being highly disrespected, especially Black women, period.
yeah.
But I feel like we're, especially with hip hop and all this, I'm just getting tired of all this. It's a rhetoric. It's all bullshit. It's like so sorry, I don't know if I could say that, but I just
No, you're
wanted to
good.
start it out positively with a song. And I wanted those lyrics to really hit women like, yo, uh, keep your head up. Like, and that was a separate subliminal message to whoever, even
Yeah,
men. And I wanted you to vibe because Pac is dope. The song is dope, but the lyrics were specific. It empowers women. So before you even know it, subconsciously you're getting in spirit, you're getting ready to accept a strong woman role
yeah, yeah.
because you're hearing this man edify you and not quitting and plus the character Jimmy was going through something. So all the music was very, very specific. Like I
You
have a
can
playlist.
definitely see that. You can definitely see that. I mean, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to give too much of it away, but
Yeah,
the scene where you guys are you, I don't know, were you on the bridge? I know that you were, what river was that? I'm trying to
that was
figure out
a
where were you guys? Were you in Brooklyn? That
that
scene where she's
Brooklyn, that
asking you about your dreams?
that's in Manhattan, but that's looking at Brooklyn. That was the Brook.
Okay.
That was the Brooklyn, that was either the Brooklyn or the Manhattan Bridge. That was the Manhattan Bridge because we were up by like 50th or something around there.
Okay. Okay.
But
That
we
was
were
a great
sitting on
shot.
a
That was a
that,
great shot. That was a great shot. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoy this project. I know it's going to do well. I wish you and your team like all the best. Before we go, what do you want, viewers to take away from your upcoming project?
that um all hope is not dead in film. If you were like a classic lover of film, if you're a classic lover of story and visuals and how the golden age of cinema from
Mm,
70s, 80s, 90s, if you're a fan of that, I'm bringing that back.
all
I'm
right.
gonna bring that back.
Well, Mr.
So
Davis, thank you so much for your time.
thank
Congratulations on Joy and Gem. I wish you all the best at Pan African American Film Festival. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is Tanisha Laverne Grant with blackinamerica.com.
thank you,
Thank
Miss
you
Grant.
so much. Oh, you're quite welcome, my love.
Too many teardrops for one heart to be crying, yeah. Too many teardrops for one heart to carry on. You way up on top now, baby, since you left me, yeah. And you're always laughing down at me. Hey, watch out, baby. I'm gonna get there. Yes, I am. And we'll be together for just a little while. And we'll start gathering till
Joy?
Yeah,
Seriously?
seriously.
Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy.
Nice to meet you. Both start with a J. It's fake.